Alright, in this video, I'm going to show you how to repair a water leak in the passenger footwell in a B5.5 Passat. Stay tuned. This car is leaking water in the passenger side footwell, and it's leaking from the pollen filter housing. I'm going to remove it and replace the foam gasket with silicone. That will create a watertight seal and stop water from coming inside the cabin. Alright, this is a very common place for water to leak on a B5.5 Passat, and the the biggest issue with this kind of water leak is that the TCM, it sits right below the carpet right here. This one I removed from below the carpet because of the water leak. I didn't want it to get damaged. So yeah, what happens is that the water comes in from outside right below the dash, it runs under the carpet, and as I said, the TCM, it sits below the carpet and the water settles right where this thing lives, and that's bad. I'm going to partially remove the carpet and reinstall the TCM below the carpet, but before I do that, I want to make sure I address the water leak outside first. So the pollen filter housing, it lives right below this area. I'm going to remove that just to gain access to it. This is the pollen filter housing, and it's held on by three 10mm nuts. There's one here, and there's another one all the way back there. And that is the hardest one to get to. Just before I remove those 10mm nuts, as you can see, I have quite a bit of debris there. So I'm just gonna clear it away just so that I can have some space to work with. And if you have a B5.5 Passat like this one, just try to make sure you keep this area clean, because whenever there's a lot of leaves and it builds up like that, that's what helps to create the water leak. And also right below this battery, there's a water drain, so be sure to clear that away as well. I'm using my long nose pliers to clear away the debris so that it's easy for me to get to the 10mm nuts. So whenever you have a lot of debris buildup right there, the water has no place to go. So without that debris buildup, the water is supposed to flow down here and below the battery and through that drain hole. But instead, if there's a lot of buildup there, the water, it settles behind this plastic compartment and it flows over through the foam gasket and down into the cabin. So today we're going to remove that foam gasket and we're going to replace it with silicone. I'm going to remove this torque screw right here just so that I could gain access to that 10mm nut better. Alright, so now I'm going to start removing these 10mm nuts. Alright, so I removed this last nut. I removed it using this 10mm wrench. It's the hardest one to get to, but this is the only tool that I could fit back there. Yeah, there's a cover for the filter. I'm going to remove the cover before I remove the box. It might be a bit hard for you to see on camera, but When I remove it, you'll see it. So there are two clips on the side. I'm just going to use a screwdriver to pry it off. All right, this is what I removed. It makes the box easier to remove if you take this piece off first. It goes up, then pull. So this is a foam gasket that I was talking about. This thing right now is soaked. I'm not sure if you're able to see it on camera, but as I'm touching it, it's saturated with water. See, you see it's dripping? You see? That's all water. It's saturated with water. Right now, I'm about to remove all that debris and build up. I'm clearing away all the dirt and debris so that the silicone could have a nice bonding surface. If this area is not clean, the silicone will stick to the dirt instead of the metal. After cleaning and removing all the debris, this is what it looks like. Alright, so this is the gasket that sits on the frame and is supposed to create the water seal, but it failed. So I'm going to remove it. And I'm going to fill this cavity with silicone. I'm using a paper towel to absorb as much water as possible from the sponge. I'm doing this because I don't want the water to affect the drying process of the silicone that I'm about to apply. This is the amount of silicone that I use. I'm also going to put a bead of silicone around this opening, all the way around. It mainly leaks from the back, so you want to make sure you get a good amount on the back. After installing the box, you see how it squirts silicone out on the side like that? That's what I wanted. That's what helps to create the watertight seal. I just installed the last nut. I used these two tools. I used this 10mm wrench and this long nose pliers. If your filter is as dirty as this one, you should probably consider replacing it. So before I remove the carpet, I'm going to remove this panel right here. This panel is held in with one torque screw. So remove the torque screw and this thing should be able to pry off. Now I gotta pry this thing up. Once this thing is up, now I'm able to roll the carpet back. If your carpet is wet, you gotta get it dry. And you could get it dry by rolling it back and just putting a fan right next to it and leave it for a couple of hours. So because I fixed the water leak, now I'm gonna put the TCM back under the carpet. Alright, the TCM is back under the carpet, and now I'm just gonna put the carpet back and the panels. Now I'm gonna align these 3 metal clips to go into the 3 holes. I'm gonna reinstall that torque screw, and that'll be it for the carpet. Alright, that's it for this one. If you like this video, consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.